a thing on that as well, Zenith has been up in the late game every match today. We look at game 1, Zenith and Sonics, game 2, 3-3 at Zenith. The match we just came out of, even Zenith was up there to the end, Mystery vaulting out of that window in the C block, unfortunately falling to Oath. That said, that's definitely a team that you need to worry about. They took a huge leap in points on the leaderboard today. Another team as well, Radiance, right now, who's climbed their way up to 6th place, who I believe started out in double digits earlier today. And so it's been kind of a bit of a shuffle. And I think that, like we say, ignore Sonics at the top of the leaderboard. Let's see who's playing for second, for third place, because that's still quite a bit of money on the line for these teams.
Absolutely. And you got to credit where credit's due. Obviously, a lot of this having to do with the fact that we've gotten 3 military circles, but nobody has had a bigger come up to today than 303 Esports. Starting off the day in 15th, they are now in 9th. That has earned them an additional 4K and an additional 2% to go along with what they had already had. So they're up to a nice little chunk of change picked up due to circle favor. I got to be honest, though, this plane not looking like it's going to give us a military clover.
No. Does that mean I can now hope for an Everest circle? I mean, it's like my next favorite
indeed.
toxic circle is when we get to have Everest. Not even if it finishes on Everest, right? But having Everest in play through the early to mid game can oftentimes be a really big game changer, and that's usually something that we see Shoot to Kill take quite a bit of advantage of. That said, given the flight paths that we've had today, we're not seeing Shoot to Kill go for the Georgia Pole loot spot. Instead, dropping right on top of Oath.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean they've done what they needed to do, but this is SDK hot dropping Oath right here. This is as close as you're going to see. SDK going into logging camp right there. They're coming up over the top of Oath. Okay, there we go. We get our circle. Maybe some Stalber, maybe. Looking more like a Yaz Fieldy kind of thing, but. I think Oath saw those parachutes up there in logging camp, and I think if they're smart, they should figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, and really, right with that circle that has popped, Oath is just barely pushed out of the edge here, and Shoot to Kill is in a really great place to capitalize on them as they exit this position here in Milta Power. And then just to the north of that, you've got Zenith, right, in the Prison Lepavka kind of split. And so you've got 2 teams that are really out for your blood, really 3 teams out for each other's blood, all in one area here on the very last match of the Grand Finals.
Love to see it. I'm excited about it. I'm really pumped to see what SDK decides to do with this, and how they decide to try to approach this fight with Oath. Meanwhile, you see Comets. They have pretty much the entire south coast to themselves. They're free and clear. Where are they sitting right now? Comets currently in 15th place. They could potentially catch up to Illusion in 14th and earn themselves a little bit of extra money. We'll have to see what Illusion does. Illusion hanging out in Primorsk, as we've kind of grown accustomed to seeing them over there. But there's a cutoff between 14th and 15th of 1,000 and a half a percentage of all of the PCS stuff sales. And once again, thank you guys so much for contributing to that prize pool. I know these guys are really, really excited about it, and love to see all the votes going in their direction. So again, thank you guys so much for doing it and doing the PCS pick'ems. And hopefully you guys have had fun with it. Hopefully it's made it more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, and I think as well, even for us, just to get to see the level of interaction that PUBG has really brought esports in game, not just with the pick'ems, but with the esports tab, guys. If these are things that you like, make sure tell PUBG on social media, go onto Twitter at them, let them know, because that is going to continue this trend as we move forward into PCS3 later this year, and there will be more opportunities, of course, at PCS3 for ways to support your teams with the pick'ems. That said, obviously, there can only be one winner. Pretty sure at this point it's Sonics, but Poro, there were some head-to-head matches that were also up that I think statistically we think might be locked in.
Yeah, pretty much all our head-to-heads, I believe, are squared away at this point. I'm still keeping. We're watching Zenith make moves right now. They're going to run into ATC a little bit, but they're going to be okay. I'm still keeping my eyes on STK just in case. Oath has been kind of pushed into a corner right now in Milta Power main. I feel like Oath knows something's going on, and they're actually starting to trade a few shots back and forth here as we check in on Liberate. A lot of teams collapsing towards the center of this circle. Liberate, where are they sitting? I'll get back to you on that. I'll let you know.
Liberate down in 13th place, so kind of below Fabled. That was a bit of a surprise. Liberate came out so strong in the group stages. They had these really just so much growth, especially from Guapi. Ice there really wasn't, I guess I can say, anybody in Liberate that didn't pull their weight, but unfortunately, when we kind of moved to the Grand Finals, a couple of teams, I think, just swept the rug out from under them very early on. I'm not sure how, but it just seems like Liberate hasn't really been able to recover from that.
There we go. We see Civ holding the shipping crates location. He's got some support up on the hill, the rest of STK, but you can see Oath. I mean, they're pinned right now. They're just on the edge of circle here. I mean, the Oath is playing this very, very smartly, given the information that they got. So, got to definitely give props to them for reading the situation and knowing that this was a possibility. And on top of that, just reading the book there and seeing what's going on, and not letting STK sneak one away from them.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Relo send it ahead, kind of scout out and learn very quickly of where STK is positioned, and that's going to now allow Oath to regroup, take their vehicles, and take a very wide, far rotation away from shoot to kill, and look for another point into the zone. The south is actually very far open, and so at the very least, it's going to give Oath a little bit more time to survive onto this. That said, now looking ahead at Zenith, ATC had actually sent too early on to start to crash. They were able to regroup, restructure over here at J Compound, but now, these are two other teams right now that are chasing 4th, 5th, just behind the STK Oath, and really Zenith isn't that far behind STK, so if any one of these 4 teams has a good match, in fact, even Radiance, right? Radiance is only at 102. If we see Radiance put down another double-digit kill match and a chicken dinner, there's really any possibility for any one of these teams that could maybe take it for second. Well, I say take it for second place.
Yeah, and you can also see Radiance currently tied with Veritas in overall points. So they definitely don't want to lose any position here. Would, I'm sure, love to gain some, as we I think the difference between 6th and 5th is a pretty good chunk of change. So we'll have to keep an eye on all of this as we make our way forward. STK, meanwhile, do they got somebody in their compound? Or am I seeing
it
things?
Sure looks like it, doesn't it? Looks like, nope, never mind. That was just a phantom body, guys.
Bug.
Ignore that.
Love to see it.
All right. It's good.
Spooky. A little spooky time for you there. But STK getting a nice position here in this early circle, just off to the east, or west, rather, of Lipovka. Now, it's not center, but it's a high ground position where they can gain a lot of information about what's going off to their west, and they can also kind of scout out where they want to go next. So we'll have to keep an eye on where this side go. Radiance, meanwhile, playing from the south side of Yasnaya. This is one of those boring circles, Clover, where everybody has somewhere to go. Everything's playable. Everybody kind of knows where it's going to go in the future. So not seeing a whole lot of early combat as a result. You can see 64 still alive on the board at 8 minutes.
Yeah, and, I think, too, especially after having 3 milli circles in a row, to have a boring start, it's a little bit of a welcome reprieve for some of these players. That said, you still got a lot of teams set up in really nice positions, and it's going to be where this phase 2 circle takes a hard shift if we're going to see it kind of go north Yaz, south Yaz, maybe even a hard shift towards Raz, and what that could do for some of these teams and their positioning and transitioning. Radiance landed in a really fantastic position here in Yasnaya. They're in the center. They do got some nice high ground for the buildings there in the south of town, but,
Stalwart hard shift. Let's go.
Oh,
here it
there
comes.
we go. The circle is just about to move. We'll see. Oh, not Stalver.
Unfortunate. It's still an interesting circle, though, because you still have that north side of the lake, the north side of the river, that's still playable, but it's a decision. Do you think that it's going to cut down to the Yasnaya fields? I think most of these teams are probably going to think, yeah. So, not a lot of real estate to be found in that area, so these guys are going to have to get on the move pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, on the other side of water is really only about 30% of the zone, and of course the water is not playable later in the game. It will shift away from the lake and the river, and that's what the teams and the IGLs are thinking about right now is where do we think this circle's going to go? Is it worth staying across, or we want to start making those moves? That said, I think most teams are vying, no, we want to go south of the lake and of the river, but that already shows it's very congested here, right? We've seen a lot of teams that are really don't have a lot of places to put in. In fact, I think school and apartments is the only compound south of the river right now that is entirely vacant. And so teams are going to start fighting. I think, you know, you and I said this was going to be a boring start. I don't think it's going to happen for much longer now as ATC transitioning right beyond Liberates and teams trying to set up left and right in this area. And so this is where it goes, Boro.
Yeah, this is going to start getting a little bit spicy here pretty quickly as Radiance is controlling that south side of Yasnaya. They've got full vision over the fields. ATC just kind of running around like a chicken with their head cut off in the Yasnaya fields right now. But it looks like they may have spotted something, at least someplace to call home. Oath, meanwhile, coming in from the south side. They've got Comets just off to their north. Now, you didn't mention school and apps. You also have that J building at the intersection that's playable right now. But Sonics on the hills just off to the east are kind of overseeing everything right now. Houston Hardships somehow managed to make it through Razak. You avoid 303 for the most part here, but again, this is Lobes and Chuba already south of the river. J-Sank and Maluk still haven't made it over quite yet, so Hardships having a little bit of a struggle here in their transition. Ooh.
I think a bit of a struggle as well. Shoot to kill is gonna get unfortunately, I have a bit of a knock here onto Luke 12, but there should be just enough cover for Kurt to be able to get the res onto this Lampalot does not have the angle. You know, we see Pat Caps kind of creeping up the backside of Shoot to Kill here. And so this fight that we've really been waiting to pop off now has finally come to pass as Alo is going to get a couple of bullets into Pat Caps. Oh, unfortunately hitting a rock that was just hidden by that bush, but looks like should be able to get away safely as they're going to try to take this compound before Shoot to Kill can get to it.
How is this open?
I mean, this is probably one of the strongest compounds in this region.
How is this open right now? I was looking at my map, and I guess I was a little bit zoomed out. I thought Liberate was there, but apparently Liberate instead opting to play the craters just to the south of Yaz Field. So Oath somehow manages to get a clutch compound here on a blind send here in Circle 3. That's about as lucky as you're ever going to get with a rotation. We check back in with Zenith with a lot of teams up here in Yasnaya trading shots back and forth, but you can see they're right on top of each other. Most likely nothing will come of this until the circle finally does push off of Yaz and they force him to move. Is it going to be this time, though? Where are we going?
What? All right.
Okay.
I mean, you know what, Porusok? This was 30% of the circle. The likelihood of the circle shifting in this direction was very, very slim to the point where even you and I wrote off it was going to the south. And I think, as you can see right now, everybody immediately migrating up to the north. Illusion actually in the best position as they were the farthest north, trying to buy up for those compounds. Look at this. I mean, now you got people running over left and right. Win getting the flush onto Victor. Unfortunately, Comet's losing one in that transition. This is wild. I think this is where your seat swappers are going to really start to shine.
Well, Win already picked one out. Let's see if they can get another one. Shrimsy, not to be outdone. Tig trying to do the same thing. Shrimsy, I think, maybe committing a little bit more than Tig was wanting to. As Dietrich's actually hanging behind the Destructible. Needs to be careful. Oh, well, I guess just get destroyed there by mine, Dietrich. I'm not sure what the thought there was pulling out, but he gets absolutely eaten alive. And meanwhile, Radiant's now pushing into Fabled, and Fabled is getting decimated.
Oh, Rip is the last one up, but look at this. Radiance has lost Gaxi as well as Los looking for the angle onto this, but they need to be mindful. ATC is just coming up from the ridge. Norcus looking for an angle, and right behind them, Liberate. So, nice Molly is going to do it. Rip goes out as Radiance works to recover. This is the time to push for ATC. Right now, Los working on the res for Gaxi. They lost the other two members of their team. ATC is playing this one very, very cautiously.
I mean, to be fair, this circle shift here at the end is probably more troll than anything that we've seen, than 3 military circles in a row. Because, I mean, you could see there was nobody up north except for Illusion, and they just didn't know what to do with their hands. They were so shocked that they found themselves inside of a circle for once. Meanwhile, it looks like Gaxi going to go ahead and bleed out, and now Los all by himself. Let's see what he can do against this ATC squad. This ATC just slowly wrapping around here and collapsing on top of him.
ATC and Radiance right now playing for 5th and 6th place respectively, and both down to just one player. It looks like Lowe's coming around the corner. Aguila actually is going to spot him out. Excuse me, ATC has 4 up, and Radiance locked out into 6th place. Veritas is only a few points behind, though. There's a chance that they could lap Radiance onto this. That said, Shoot to Kill and Oath once again have locked crosshairs on one another as they both hold on to the south. This is the fight that we have been anticipating. I think we'll continue to anticipate until one of these two teams is gone, Poro.
Yeah, SDK kind of in the better position right now. They've got more room to maneuver, more room to move around. Oath, meanwhile, I think they realize that they don't really want to hang out in this compound, as the circle does cut to the north, which is pretty much what we're expecting. We got to keep eyes on Veritas, right? They can a couple of kill points here, and they'll pass Radiance, and that's going to be a pretty good financial come up for those boys if they can pull it off. We'll have to see how STK and Oath decide to make their way into this circle now.
I mean, that's the question, right? How do they make it into the circle? Shoot to Kill does have a nice angle to cross for the river, but the bridge is also camped by Veritas. They need to be a little bit mindful because that's an easy position for either one of those teams to do quite a bit of damage on each other. That said, Sonic's now wrapping around the edge, just kind of on the outskirts of where Hardshifts have put down. And so shots already coming out from Houston as they do spot Mime, but it really, I mean, I think if you're Shoot to Kill, or if you're Sonics, you know you've won this. There's not really a ton that you really have to do. And we see them having fun with it, right? They're seat swapping, they're doing drive-bys, they're staying together as a team. At this point, as you quite said, this is quite literally a victory lap for them.
Apparently, Shrimsy wants Mime to go somewhere that Mime didn't want to go, so we're doing a little sheepdog in there. And we'll get Sonics on top of the hill. It looked like they had a knock early, but they were able to get the res off, and now Monty is going to be stuck behind here, but I don't think they know he's there. I don't think they are aware that Monty is hanging out where he is, and look at this, Hardshift's now coming from behind, so Sonics may find themselves in a little bit of a rock and a hard place here as Luke going to swim it across, and okay, we're back to this fight.
And the fight has in fact popped off there. Shrimsy gets a nice shot onto Maluk there. Lobes still trying to hold the angle. It looks like Sonic's working on 2 reses at the same time. Nice nade, though, from Lobes. Going to get the flush onto Tiggleton. Doesn't quite find the knock onto Mime, though. Mime's going to pull back for safety, back to the vehicle in case they need an easy escape onto this. And that said, Lobes pulling back now for the res onto Maluk.
God, if there's a stat that I would love to be able to see, and I don't even know if it's possible right now. Shrimsy slowly bleeding out. We'll see if Mime can pull off some MVP. Nope. He can get absolutely roasted by Maluk. No, there's a stat that I would love to see. I want to see first and second shot accuracy, because there's some of these guys. It just feels like they pull up the scope immediately. First shot hits, second shot hits, and it's a real quick succession. And I'd love to see it, and it's. I'm sure that has to be able to be done.
I think so. I think that's definitely something that the API team, our fellow stat guys could pull up. But that said, I mean, the stat that I think I really want to know is between Shoot to Kill and Oath, right? Which of these two teams did more damage to the other? Because look at this, Balefrost getting the opening knock onto Alo. The nade is out. It might be enough for a flush. And Civ is actually coming in for the res. Gets Civ down as well. Alo is completely flushed out now. And Kurt has to pull back for safety on this, down to 46 HP immediately on the res. But Oath is just going to send it because why not?
I mean, part of me wants to talk about the bitter irony of Shoot to Kill in the last 2 games getting absolutely wrecked by throwables, kind of like a live by the sword, die by the sword type of thing. But really, that's just unfortunate. Like that just sucks. I mean, as soon as that first down came in, all three of those guys are like, you know what, we're screwed. It's one grenade, two grenades, and we're done. And Oath, very much obliging to deliver those two.
You know, and another thing, I guess, really, in all of this work that Oath just did to try to get that last knock, they didn't even get it. Norcus from ATC actually, from afar, took out Kurt, and now you still have Luke 12, who did manage to swim across earlier, so STK has one up, but Oath, once again, needing to work their way into the zone, and there's just, with this circle, I mean, look how out in the open it is, Poro. We've just got a little bit of some dips, a lot of trees, and not much of anything else, as we see team after team right now fighting out on top of each other. Crawfresh looking for an angle here onto Duel. Maji is actually get the knock and flush onto Danny G. Two players down for Carnage. Smokes are starting to come out as they look for the reses. Phase 5 is here, though. Blue's closing in. There's not much time for this. They need to act now if they're looking to get that res. It looks like Zregrod and Crawfresh are pulling up. They want to keep Carnage 4-man strong, and Zenith coming in the backside of Duel might be giving him just enough breather, but Liberate actually has side on this, getting Zregrod down to 6 HP. Finds the knock, and Guabi finishes out. Meanwhile, Zenith gets the final player of Duel, and they're eliminated into 12th.
Whew. And just like that, Carnage secures themselves a couple extra $1,000 because that cutoff between 10th and 11th was where the price cutoff was. So Carnage coming out on top. And now Luke 12, well, all you can do is die to a Molotov.
Oof. You hate to see it, but you know what? Kudos there to
The
Oath.
irony.
They've managed to push themselves into second place now with 201 current points for right now.
200 points.
Still plenty of time for them to make that a little bit larger and keep the gap large enough for Zenith to not catch up. I mean, Zenith at 168, it's going to be a bit of a top. And I think
Good
that's a
Snakers.
victory spray from Snakers to say, hey man, second place. Oh, okay, because you know what? Why not? Why is that?
I mean, look, I guess job done. The only thing that they had to really accomplish in this was getting rid of STK and making sure that they finished in second. So I guess that's going to be it for Oath. Sure, why not? All right, cool. Zenith and ATC now. We'll have to keep an eye on as Zenith getting a little bit of shots placed down onto them by CG. We'll see if Zenith can hold on long enough to maybe make a run or keep ATC from overwhelming them. I kind of lost my live update here, but Veritas also in a position where they can take over Radiance and earn themselves some more money as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is really a fantastic position for a lot of these squads you said that are up for money. Carnage is actually just a few points out from another placement leap. And so there we go. The live leaderboard, 303 is only 1 point ahead of them. But Zenith, unfortunately, struggling here just in a bit. And a nice nade thrown by Adam is going to lock them out into 4th place. ATC 3 points behind. There's an opportunity for them to now climb back up to 3rd place, maybe, or 4th place, maybe even take 3rd from shoot to kill. But Illusion right now sitting on 7 points. If they can get, you know, a couple more kills and a chicken dinner, Illusion could even jump into 10th.
ATC standing to make a lot of money here if they can make something happen. Veritas, meanwhile, you can see where they're at. They only need 2 more kills to jump over Radiance. But Hardship's making that real difficult for him right now as Maluk barely gets away. And that's a nice grenade, though, as Sharp Shot goes down. Pentalol just holding the line right now as the rest of Houston Hardships looks like they're going to get in vehicles and try to reposition the grenades, the explosions everywhere. And now oh no, Maluk gets shot out by ATC.
Oh, and unfortunately it goes. Pentalol actually falls there. Hardships and ATC both capitalizing on this fight as ATC now sitting with 8 kills. And we see shots out towards Hardships as Melon is out for blood. Looking at the mini-map, all the teams so close together. There isn't really a single point of safety. ATC has created some hard cover there with some blown out vehicles, and that's providing him a little bit of safety from the teams out to the south. As the teams to the north, they need to be careful because as this fight finishes up between Illusion and Carnage, that could spell a little bit of trouble for ATC in the future. So Illusion right now as well trying to hold this angle, and meanwhile Voxic kind of chilling off on his own.
Well, that's good news though for 303 because you can see they are just holding on by their fingertips to that 9th place position while Carnage is down to 2 and they're on the very far edge here. If Illusion can wipe them out, then 303 would have completed their move all the way from 15th to 9th. We'll see how they can hold on to that. Meanwhile, ATC still making moves. They're 1 point away from hopping over Zenith. And getting themselves a nice little come up there. The come ups at the top of the leaderboard are a lot nicer than the ones towards the bottom for sure. But if ATC can make something happen here, they can earn themselves a nice chunk of money here in the last game.
I mean, there's really an opportunity for all these teams to make a bit of a leap. Even Hardships, if they can get a chicken dinner, that will throw them ahead of Veritas. And so that's why this final match still matters for all of the teams. And the circle is going to shift right onto ATC. But again, now, if you're Carnage down to just Ripper, nowhere left to go. Illusion coming in for this push. I mean, this is so difficult to see. It's all of Illusion right now taking a push onto this. And there you have it. Adam knew where he was, got the headshot onto Ripper. Flashes were out left and right. Now Illusion can relax a bit. They've got full control over the North. 9 kills to their name. Okay, we talked about this. If Illusion can walk in with a chicken dinner and rack up a couple of kills, that's double-digit points for them and should be more than enough to leap over 303.
It's huge. They've already jumped up one prize bracket. Let's see if they can keep going. Meanwhile, 303 staying alive. Hardships, as you said, in a good position. But ATC, look at this.
Ooh.
Marcelic already has 2 kills, too. If Marcelic can actually do some more damage, he might be able to overtake something for Tiggleton. I'm not sure. I have to go back and check. No, never mind. No, Tiggleton's got that. Oh, Chubba. Oh, Viking Funeral. Oh. No.
I mean, you love to see it, you hate to see it, but Molly's out in full force right now. ATC still 4 strong with 11 left alive, 3 teams. Right now their focus is on gatekeeping Houston as we get another knock and flush. J-Sync taken out.
Ooh.
And in the end, Top Dog with a nice headshot gets Lobes. That's it for Houston. 2 teams left, both full 4 stacks. Poro, there's an opportunity for ATC to leap over SDK or Illusion to loop over 303. Whichever team wins is going to be the one that takes that final shot. Look, it's 12 kills to Illusion's name.
Illusion finally having a decent game where they get a late game shift. It seems like they're just constantly chasing and chasing and chasing. This time, Circle Fine's right on top of them, and they managed to make the most of it here with 12 kills, as you said. ATC, though, if they can take that 3rd place position, that would be absolutely huge, as I think that would have pushed them from a fifth place $16,000 finish to a 3rd place $24,000 finish. So that is a come up, 100%.
I mean, so much work has been put in by all of the teams here today. They've been participating in the grand finals for the last 3 weeks, as well as all of PCS2. But that said, once this match is over, the leaderboard will be locked in. Illusion and ATC. As we see the circle will pop once again, not much movement is really required. Illusion's still going to have the safety of this bank. And we can see Norcus starting to rotate wide, looking for an angle. Anything that they can get onto Illusion. I think the opening knock that we could see here might be really the start of all of this. That said, after Phase 8, when we go to Phase 9, Poro, we get that little dot. And that dot is in a better position, I feel, for ATC than where Illusion is currently placed.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to depend on how Illusion decides to play it. If they right now, Norcus is in a fantastic position on the edge of this circle. He's going to prevent Free Me Please or anybody from Illusion from wrapping low and trying to get a flanking position. Now, the only thing that they don't have going for them is that Illusion does have that high ground by the roadside, and Top Dog, if he decided to stretch out here, could find himself in a good position to maybe get a flank from the high ground. But Aguila, it looks like he's trying to wrap out there and prevent that from happening. But that's the thing is that Illusion has not really a lot more room to work with, but they've just, with 4 players, they have a lot more room to move around and move their chess pieces in the board than ATC does, because ATC has to be watching all of these things. They can't afford really to be an aggressor. They're kind of waiting for Illusion to make the first mistake.
Mm-hmm. And that said, now, I mean, 10 seconds until this circle has closed entirely, and it's not to see where the circle goes. It's just going to wait for that counter, the blue, to continue to close in and push these 2 teams together. And I think now, as that timer's coming up, it looks like ATC is finally deciding, now's the time. We know exactly where they are. We're a little bit comfortable position. We still got a bit of cover onto this. Illusion starting to do the same, right? We're seeing smokes come out. The last of the utility now is Free Me Please, runs out of pretty much everything. Still got the SLR, so he's looking for those range shots onto ATC. but there's not really any time left for these two teams, and I think the hesitation has to
Norcus.
come to an end. As there you have it, Norcus getting the opening knock onto Adam. This is huge for ATC as they even the odds. This is now a 3v3. Top Dog, though, immediately jumping onto Adam, looking to try to keep him up as long as possible. As Norcus and Melon both looking for another angle on this, with Free Me Please getting a couple hits onto Aguila. Everybody's armor is completely trashed onto this. An Icy Flex. Ooh, is wrapping around. This is really good. ATC doesn't realize he's here just yet. Looks for that knock on the Melon. Gets him very low, but doesn't get it immediately, though. Norcus turning his attention, but it doesn't matter because Illusion's got sight on here. If Icy Flex can manage to get around the corner, it's going to be huge. Finds the knock onto Aguila, but gets taken down by Melon. 2 up still for ATC as they look to pick up that flush. And another point there as well. ATC now sitting at 11 kills, but Norcus falls. Amalia is out, down to 1 HP. Does get a knock. Top Dog falls in the end, but Illusion takes the victory with 15 kills.